Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Truman, show it up. I guess it's a different show. Welcome back, everybody, or welcome to. If it's your first time joining us, thank you so much. Make sure, if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, subscribe. We're trying to hit 50,000 by the end of this month. I think we can do it. We have a lot of stuff going on here. A lot of people just are searching for Obi-Wan, and they look for Obi-Wan reviews, and they go, okay, let's see what this person said, and then they just move on. Well, don't move on. Stick around. Be part of this shit dump, as I call it. That's a sell. See, right then alone. You know what? The guy called his own channel a shit dump. I'm gonna subscribe. Thanks for that. All right, Obi-Wan. This is it's funny with this show in general, right? Like this was definitely one of my most highly anticipated Star Wars properties since I think Force Awakens. And I've been having conversations with. I like this show. I do. I am definitely disappointed with the show as well. And the same thing. How do you like it and be disappointed with it? Well, I had like anything else. When you have super high expectations of something, and you have a particular, when you're disappointed with certain ways maybe the story goes and that type of thing, you could be. It doesn't hit the expectations you hoped that it would, and sometimes that's a detriment. And sometimes it just doesn't live up. But I will say this episode is at least the story that I was anticipating. This is what I thought they were going to lead on for the majority of it. As I said back when I thought there was going to be an Obi-Wan movie, and there was announced Obi-Wan movie, the line in Return of the Jedi of, Obi-Wan once thought as you did. And I'm like, whoa, man, we can see that. We haven't really seen that. That's what I thought the story was going to be about. And we still haven't really seen that, even in this episode of Obi-Wan realizing that his Padawan was alive, and now realizing what Padme said to him about there was still good in him, and now I got to figure out a way to bring it back. The story is not about that. It really isn't. I don't know if they're going to address it in the whole damn thing, but it really wasn't even necessarily about the Obi-Wan and Anakin conflict as much as this episode was. And we kept wondering, are we going to see flashbacks of Anakin and Obi-Wan back in the day? And we did. We started with it. And the second you see Coruscant, you know we're about to get. And you see Anakin in the getup from, you're wondering, is it right before Attack of the Clones, right after? And it obviously is right before. He has both of his hands. But even before I do anything, the one thing that I will say, and a lot of people have been talking about it, I don't understand why they didn't use a little deep fake because he looks significantly older. He doesn't look 18 or whatever he's supposed to look, or 20, whatever the hell he's supposed to be at this age. He looks like a 40-year-old man. And I did this in like a couple seconds. Is it great? No, but it didn't cost me any money to do it. Put a little money into it, and that would have been fine. But it's a nitpicky thing. You can get over it, and that's probably what they thought. Whatever, they'll deal with Hayden back, and we do, because it's a phenomenal scene. We get to see the two of them. And we're at a point when we see him, and I liked the overall kind of theme that they had here with, even though he got super powerful, it doesn't mean he didn't change his ways for the reason why he went to the dark side in the first place, of chasing the easy option, the powerful option, overpowering, using, certain, his quench for victory, as Obi-Wan said. And in this, we see this training between the two of them when he is the learner. And they kind of square up, and you get to see Ewan McGregor in his old school outfit. And this stuff was great. I mean, you can't. This is the type of stuff that I think a lot of us were looking forward to in this series, and that we see this and how it kind of intercuts back and forth, and the two of them having this duel, and with Coruscant in the background. It looked great. It took us back to some really great moments, and you got to see them together, and this opening training sequence between the two of them, and then obviously Vader reflecting on it. And I thought this was the best stuff that we've got with Vader so far, and this was the stuff that I think a lot of us were hoping for. What I was anticipating Obi-Wan Kenobi being was this kind of character study and this deep dive into the psyche of Obi-Wan, and being defeated inside, and this being tortured about his friend, his Padawan, the failure that came along with it, and realizing that he still has a chance to redeem him. And it hasn't been that deep divey. As I said, sometimes it's been a little, I think episode 4 in particular, it's been a little very TV-ish. And this episode definitely changed. There was some very cinematic, a lot of great Star Wars imagery and moments in this side. I definitely still had some critiques of the way that certain things looked, and there were still certain things that looked a little cheap. There were some that the story in this one easily, even more so than 3. I think this is the best the story has been. There's still something we'll get into towards the end of the episode that I was like, wait a minute. And we'll talk about the wait a minute moment in a second. And I'm very curious to see if everybody agrees or disagrees with me. But we'll get into it. And there's definitely, and what they have been doing in every single episode is some kind of an homage to the other movies. And this one was definitely an homage in certain aspects to episode 4, but a lot of the Last Jedi with that last scene when the First Order's coming in and trying to smoke them out, and the same type of thing happens in this episode. And I thought a lot of that worked for sure. But the reflection of what Vader is doing and how and the idea in the reflection of him as a Padawan, and now he's just so short-sighted that he just wants one thing and one thing alone, and he's excited about what Reva has done, and she comes in, and there's this great, again, this reminded me very old school Star Wars, just the moment with the dude in the background, and then they pin her. She's now the Grand Inquisitor. As we fly through, and this is where everything about this particular thing reminded me of that scene when they're in the cave in Last Jedi, and they're trying to get out, and they're relieved because they've saved Leia. And what I will say about Kamal in this episode, by the way, you see him in this shot, I was worried they were going to do the same thing they did in the first one, is kind of overpower it with the Marvel humor, and they have like one little line where he's like the scary Jedi lady, or scary evil lady, whatever he says about her, but it was so small, and it just kind of portions into what his character was. Thought he was good in this episode, and I thought that they could have been really goofy with him and Leia, and they weren't. I thought that the answer to this question I'm about to ask is because it's him, but why did you need that character? What did that character serve in this particular episode that O'Shea Jackson Jr. couldn't have done? Probably nothing, except the fact that, again, you have the star power and you want to have him in there and he's available to shoot, and you want to put him in there. No harm, no foul. So I get why they put him in there, but his character wasn't necessary, but it actually liked him so much more in this episode because it was just because it didn't overpower. It went even the line with the scary Jedi lady, or scary, I can't remember what he says, but that still was relevant to the conversation of when Obi-Wan's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" He's like, "Well, I'm on the run now. I gotta be with the crew. So here I am." Okay, it works for me. Fair enough. And that's the end of it. There's no more goofiness that plays in. So I thought that worked well. And then, speaking of O'Shea Jackson Jr., you have this conversation where he's just like, "Look, man, we're gonna help you out, but we got to get these people out." Obi-Wan, and that's when Obi-Wan's starting to be the Obi-Wan that we know, and he's like, "Yeah, all right, let's do what we got to do." And he's kind of going back to the mission. He's kind of coming to his senses and coming back to Obi-Wan, and they are being a little bit more, I think, aware that people are now, everyone's calling him Ben, which is good. And I think, Reva calls him Obi-Wan again a couple times, but then everyone's waiting around, and Vader's just chomping at the bit, man. He wants to get there, and then they have the scene with the little droid, and it's funny because I just thought that the thing was a tracking device, and again, I'm coming fresh off this thing. I haven't read anything about it. I haven't watched any Alex Damon's videos to find out anymore, but I thought that it was just a tracking device. Why is it acting all evil and stuff? Like, even at one point, I think when it starts to do that thing with Leia and she's like, hey, take it easy, I think that it's just him trying to communicate, like, get this thing out of me. That's the way I was hoping to pick it up, because I was like, why is it acting? Because it goes in and messes with the system, and it kind of screws things up, and she's got to go with the ladder and fix things. And it's like, I didn't realize it was something that corrupted its circuits. I thought it was just a tracking device, but maybe it was a little bit of both. I don't know. Again, not anything that took away from the episode itself. So worked out fine. And this scene I thought worked really well, and it was pretty emotional, where Obi-Wan's looking at all the lightsabers that they had. And this is something that I am going to have to find out. So look at some other videos of channels that are definitely smarter than me. I want to know whose sabers those are. I want to learn. I'm sure there's going to be tons of videos telling whose sabers they are, and people probably know, like when you look at those, whose they are, and I'm sure there's already tons of explainer videos out there with telling you whose those are. That's not the kind of research you're getting on my show. I just say, hey, there's some lightsabers. Wonder who they belong to. And then he's got that saber, but he picks up that robe. Same thing. He's like, it's like this is the type of stuff that really works for me overall story because it's like this pain. And I think they could have done this in like episode 2. What are you gonna do? And then the thing goes in and messes stuff up. Obi-Wan's still reflecting, going back into this. And so here's the difference between like last week when they kept having that interrogation scene 75 times over with saying the same thing, as opposed to going back to, this scene over and over, because there's a difference, is that each time we're learning a little bit more and then ultimately turning back into why is that up there again? Ultimately turning back into what's going to happen at the very end of the episode and how Obi-Wan is once again able to outsmart his Padawan. But to go back to it and watch how powerful Anakin always has been, and to watch, and it's also, who doesn't want to watch Hayden, the actual Hayden and Obi-Wan mix it up again, right? So I just wish they would have used a little de-aging, just a little. Again, doesn't ruin the scene for me, but it's like, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't that hard to do. Unless you guys think that looks like crap also. But again, remember, I did that in like 2 seconds. That was something that I'm not paid by anybody to do that. Anyway. So they have this whole big battle. And it was awesome to watch. It was this stuff that I was like on the edge of my seat watching, hopefully like more, because they kept going back to like even. And you can see them though. You see, they're still in really great shape, the both of them, but they're moving a little slower, just a little bit. That's all right. But I think that works though. I think it works for the story in general, and it didn't take anything back. Love this shot of Obi-Wan, really do. Like he's like, dude, we get it. You're powerful. You're doing, but you're still making the wrong moves, man. And it plays in once you realize once again that this is right before Dooku slices his hand off, and he hasn't gone through all that stuff with Padme, and so there's the stuff with the Sand People hasn't happened yet. So you can see all of it, and this is before he's all tamed in, so he's coming in with that anger, and it's in there, and it's aggressive. And Obi-Wan says as much, and he's not listening. He said, listen, chill out. He's like, yeah, all right. He tries to overpower him again. He's like, this is going to be your undoing, man. And I'm going to get you. And again, he does overpower him at one point, and Vader's just reflecting on it. I love the back and forth of Vader reflecting on this moment, Obi-Wan reflecting on this moment. This was the type of Star Wars imagery. I love this shot with him Vader staring out of the, he's staring out of the window and looking out at the planet as he's about to go and thinks that he's about to have this battle with Obi-Wan. He's going to have this showdown. He really would have been in a lot better shape fighting Obi-Wan the first time had he used some athletic greens. I'll tell you that. I've told you guys about athletic greens, and I love athletic greens. They're really good, man. They give me energy and allow me to stay up until midnight to do these and then take all my notes and screenshots and everything. And athletic greens it's the bomb. I started using it because I needed some more energy, man. Optimize the immune system. And I'm not a big pills guy, vitamins guy. So I took a supplement, and it tastes really good. It's got a very fruity taste to it, and it's just one delicious scoop of athletic greens. You take 75 high-quality vitamins. You got whole food source superfoods, probiotics, all of it. I do it because it gives me that boost of energy. It gives me it's good sleep. I'm surprised how good this stuff tastes. It's easy. I put it in a water bottle. I shake it up. It's awesome. It contains less than 1 gram of sugar. There's no nasty chemicals, no artificial anything, and it tastes good. And as I said, it supports better sleep quality and recovery, and it supports mental clarity and alertness. All the peeps in the big thing and Sith Council are doing it now, and you should too. It costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. You're investing in an all-in-one nutritional insurance. Athletic Greens has over 7,000 5-star reviews, and it's recommended by professional athletes. It is time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. You just take 1 scoop in water every day, and like I said, I put it in a water bottle, I shake it up, and that's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. So this is what you do. Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/bigthing. Again, athleticgreens.com/bigthing. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And once again, guys, if you haven't tried Athletic Greens, try it. And not only do you support yourself, you're going to support this show. You help out this show tremendously. So thank you. Okay, getting back into it. So as he's looking out at the planet, we know that we think something's going down. And this is where I said, like, the homage to Episode 4 comes in, because this is like the classic shot that everybody talked about the first time a lot of people were ever introduced to Star Wars back in 1977. You got a shot like this, and this is where people just saw the significant difference between the way films were being made and how they were about to be made because of what George Lucas did and his great team that put this together. And they kind of recreate this, and they have this scene as the ship is going towards the planet and it's going down, right? But what I did, I was curious about this, where Obi-Wan's like, I got to go talk to Reva. I got to figure this out. They board the whole place up, and Reva's coming out, and she has like this whole, again, some great Star Wars imagery. And I always look at stuff like when whether it's Celebration or whatever the hell it is, and if I can see these things as like art, and like look at there are certain shots that these look great, and this is again reminiscent to me of that scene in Last Jedi. And she comes walking up, and they're just firing at the gate, and everybody's like, "What the hell are we gonna do?" Oh, and before Obi-Wan goes to talk to Reva, I liked this moment because they didn't overcook it. Like, it's like, I can fix it. Like, I don't know, we let this kid do it. And she's like, I need a ladder. They get her a ladder. Obi-Wan's like, come on, you trust me? Get her a ladder, and they do. She goes and fixes the things. So this is where part of the stuff that plays in towards the end that I went, uh-oh, but Bale's basically saying, all right, listen, I haven't heard from you a little bit. Let me know what's going on. Otherwise, I'm going to have to take care of Luke and figure out what's going on with Owen. So that sets us up for our finale, obviously. One of the other big critiques that I think everybody has on this show in general is after you take out the previously on and the credits, this episode is like 35 minutes, maybe? It's either between 34 and 36 minutes, tops. I would much rather have 4 episodes at like an hour and 15 minutes, like what Stranger Things was doing. But I mean, obviously they had like, I think 7 episodes. But I just think that, especially like an episode like this, there was so much layers within Anakin and Obi-Wan that, like, you can give me another like 10, 15 minutes dialogue and playing together and scenes with the two of them, having whatever it might be, and building up, and even a little bit more of the discovery with Reva and all of that. It just was it just seems like I don't know what that is, and it's overall cost, and I don't know. I mean, again, you look at Stranger Things and Netflix, and granted, I know Netflix has a lot of money, but it's Disney. And this is the one thing that people always, in the comments all the time, people are just like, well, Disney's writing Star Wars bad. The writing and the production of Star Wars, you can't blame on Disney. You can blame the money. You can blame money on them. You can blame marketing and stuff like that. The money. I mean, even that's Lucasfilm too. You got to blame Lucasfilm if you're going to blame anybody. Like I was right back in the comments when people were like, Disney doesn't know how to make Star Wars. You mean Lucasfilm doesn't know how to make Star Wars? Disney's not making Star Wars. They might give notes, but it's ultimately Lucasfilm that's coming up with these stories and these other things. But this is that particular thing. I think is I don't know. I think that I don't know why they don't give them a little bit more money to say, hey, make the episodes. Can you make the episodes longer? If you're Disney, here's some money. We're gonna give you a little bit more money. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. Either way, so this is the type of stuff that I thought worked really well with Tala, and how she's fantastic. She's really good. She's probably the same type of thing I'm talking about, that she's such a great actress that you care about her when ultimately she gets pinned in and sacrifices herself. But I still think she could have been developed even more than she was in longer episodes. But because she's so good, and because she's got this kind of caring nature about her and what she's been going through and the idea of joining the Empire, thinking it was the right cause, ultimately realizing that it wasn't. And even in that previously on where she's like, this is never who I was. I was always, I was confused, but I'm not like what the Empire is. And you get that from her. And I think that's because she's a great actress as well. But this is when he's got to go and talk to her. And they have this scene between, and I like that he didn't actually go out there physically, and they're talking kind of through the door and all that. And this was where, right as it started, man, you thought Stranger Things had a twist. Reva's turning good. Man, never saw that coming. But whatever, they play it, and we finally do get that reveal that she's never really been on Vader's side. She's trying to go after him. I mean, I think people are predicting that in the comments since like before the thing even aired. But you see they set it up in episode 1, and this is still. I'm glad they put that disclaimer up top because it was a little tough to watch, especially after you hear what Reva's talking about how Anakin came in and she trusted him, and they thought he was there to help. And I mean, they have this scene, and he's just slashing down younglings, and there's this kind of look in his eyes where it's just, this is me going to the dark side. It's pretty brutal. And then he's just slashing them down, and you see young Reva, and then Obi-Wan starts to feel for her. He understands, and he ultimately uses it for his advantage at the end. But then she's just like, okay, enough is enough. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Get your ass out of here. And here's the attack. And again, this is what I thought the pace of this show worked really well, because even though like there's these little moments, sprinkles of the story, and a little bit more of what you're getting, and then boom, there was a nice balance to me of the action and the story. Again, reiterating that I think that there could have been another 10 to 15 minutes of both to make these. I think these episodes would, even if they would have timed in at like 40-45, like actual 40-45 and not credits, would have worked out pretty well. Good news, guys. I think the leaf blower is coming in. I'll let you know. I was worried that he wasn't going to show up today, but looks like he might show up. But they give us these moments of how everybody's kind of pinned in, and this is why I have the ultimate question with Reva, right? She even says to everyone, "You have no idea what I'm capable of." It's this thing for revenge that she's looking for. There's no goodness to her yet. So as even as I kid and say she's going to the light side, that's not what happens in this episode by any means. It's all about the revenge. It's all about trying to get Vader. It's all about leading with hate and staying on the dark side. That's an absolute that's happening so far. It's just the events that ultimately happen at the end, I think, gives us that how she's going to be redeemed type thing. So Camille's like, get the hell out of there, Leia. Let's move. What are you doing up there? And she's finally making her move, but Tala gets shot, which was a bummer. The second she did, you're like, oh, they're going to do that. And they do it again, as we're talking about homage with a lot of these movies. They throw an homage to Rogue One. Same type of thing, though. I liked this droid. Liked him a lot. Wanted to get a couple more moments with him. I had that great moment with him in episode 3 when he's about to bash some stormtroopers over the head. But with K2SO, you developed him throughout the whole movie, so when that mofo went, I was sad. That was one of the most sad deaths in Star Wars, I think, ever. So I was bummed to see our boy here go, but more because I think there was a kind of wasted potential with him, and I would have liked to see him do more. But I liked the idea that he was protecting Tala, and then Tala takes out the thermal detonator, and that's all she wrote. Boomski. Great ending for her, too. Because same type of thing where you go, well, where the hell did she go? Why isn't she around during the rebellion? Because she did. That's why. And then there's this back and forth between Vader and Obi-Wan, which I thought this is great. Like, and I think that they tease it. They teased this right where we're gonna get our rematch in episode 6, Which for God's sakes, please let it be an hour episode. And you know maybe what they can do? Maybe they'll throw us a real Hail Mary here. Maybe they'll give us an hour and a half to a 2-hour movie. Is that going to happen? No, probably half an hour. But how great would that be if we get like an hour and a half episode for like the last for the series finale, season finale. So they set this up where he's again tunnel vision, man. He's got pure tunnel vision. I got to get Obi-Wan. And then it goes right back to our flashback scene and the two of them and the idea of, okay, we've been leading with power. You're doing your thing. And he's like, I got a strategy now. And then you get back to Leia. And I thought Leia was used really well in this. She's good with the tech, like her pops. And this is the thing I didn't really understand. And again, you guys can tell me in the comments, like, why this thing started acting like a Terminator. But Obi-Wan surrenders, and I thought this is a good move to where he's starting to use strategy again. And again, he's not giving up. He's not doing that stuff that he did in the first couple episodes. He's starting to use those wits that made him such a powerful Jedi in the first place. And and Obi-Wan's always been the king of manipulation too. And he found out and I'm not saying he wasn't trying to help Reva. He was, but he also knew what could help him. And so he used, and Vader even says it at the end. He was wise to use you against me, or whatever he says, you know, and he was. It's the move. He's like, okay, she's pissed off, and I'm not bringing myself to him. I'm bringing him to you. And she's like, oh, all right, I see what you're doing there, you crafty old man. And for some reason, sends him off with stormtroopers. I don't know why. Why did he stay there with them? I don't know why he sent them off into the room with stormtroopers. I have no idea. But back to the battle. And this. I love that shot. He knocks the saber out of Obi-Wan's hand. He thinks he's overpowered him. He's got him. And Obi-Wan's like, you're just not getting it, kid. You're just not getting it. But there's the kid, and he's coming in hot, and he's ready. And I love how quick he's moving. And you got to assume that Obi-Wan must mess him up a little bit in episode 6 because he's moving quick. And they even said it in a lot of the pre-interviews about a very different Vader, a very powerful Vader, a very angry Vader. And we're getting that. And this is the best, I think, case of Vader that we have seen. I thought I loved him in episode 3 of this series, but I think this is the best we've seen him so far because he's just running on hate, man. And finally, you know, Leia puts the good chord in this silly droid, says, all right, Obi-Wan, back. Tells her about Tala. She has the same type of Alderaan reaction. All right, gone. All right, that sucks, but let's go. Let's move. And here comes Vader, ready to rock. And now, I want to know where you guys stand on this, because I'm torn. How do you not look at this scene and say, oh my God, look at that? Like, that's the kind of Comic-Con, you know, Star Wars Celebration artwork. You see this when you're walking through the convention, and you see this art, and you're like, oh, man, I'd love to see that in live action. Well, here you go. And he catches the ship, and he pulls it down, and let me get this out of the way, as much as I like that logo. But he's caught the ship. I mean, it was a Rebels kind of moment also, and I'm going to ask my question in a second, but I just got to show you, because, I mean, it's hard to say how fantastic does it look, and he's just pissed off because he got duped, and that was what Obi-Wan was saying. You get blindsided, man. You're not thinking about the long game, and now we're out. I don't know if it was on autopilot, whatever it was. So my question to you is this. Why didn't he do that to the Falcon in Empire Strikes Back? Was it too far out? Did it take off too fast? Will you have an answer? Okay, what do you think? Maybe, but the hyperdrive was broken. Interesting. So anyway, do you think... was he more powerful then? Something they just kind of brushed over? Because he catches a ship with his hand. And he did it again in Rebels. But I don't think I care. I don't think I care about the minutia that he didn't do it in Empire, because this is a really fantastic scene. This is a great scene, and it leads to an even greater scene with a questionable moment at the end. What the hell is that? Oh, this is... stupid ass. I'm talking to myself. So we go back to that battle of how you just outsmarted, kid. I outsmarted you again. Pay attention, because I'm going to do it to you again in a couple years when you're got a burnt face and no legs. But you didn't pay attention. Reva sneaks up behind him. He's ready for it. He knew it's coming. This is where the strategy of it. She even says it. She calls it earlier to Obi-Wan. She says he's gonna know, and Obi-Wan's like, nah, it'll be fine. What does he care? Nah, you're good. Not good. He knew it. He knew she was gonna try, and probably hoping that she would for a lot of different reasons. Give in to your hate. Do what you got to do. Let's see what you got, kid. And what I really liked about this scene, Reva gives it everything she can. Everything. Puts in all her anger. Everything. What they could have done that they didn't was go, all right, she's going to put up a fight. She's going to hurt Vader. Doesn't even scratch him. He's toying with her and playing with her the whole entire time, because there's in no world this version of Vader does anybody get close. No matter how powerful and angry you are, you're not getting close to Vader. And I love that they played it this way. He's doing like martial arts with the Force at one point with his hand, and he's toying with her, because he could have cut her head off at any given moment, but he's just he's not in any danger whatsoever. And this was fantastic. He catches the double saber, breaks it in half, and at one point he's got those two sabers, and I'm like, are they gonna have Vader fight with two sabers? And he's like, nah. Tosses it on the floor and says, come on, let's go. And I like the little smirk that she gives him. And they go at it again, and she tries her hardest. She just can't. You can't face Vader, and he's on the floor. And I love this part where you flash back to her now as this kid, seeing young Anakin, scared out of her mind. I thought it was a really, really emotional part of the show. And there's Anakin the same way, and then they cut back to him as Vader, and then boom. And I said, okay, they did it. They did it here, and they went through this character's journey of where she was and what she did, and Vader comes in and says, nice try, kid, but I'm taking you out because I have no mercy. I choke out people left and right. I kill them, and if they cross me, I stab them through the chest. And that's exactly what he does. And then this is when things start to go, wait a minute. And this is where, again, I want comments and I want debate. We can have debate. We can have healthy debate. You can disagree all day long, and I hope to have it with you. I'm too old at this point, guys. That if there's silly insults and people screaming at each other, you get thrown off the channel, and you can go yell at somebody else's channel. So that's. But I'm all for healthy debate. Grand Inquisitor comes in. We know he's going to survive because he's alive in Rebels. They don't really explain why. They didn't explain the two stomachs thing. They just explained, hey, it's amazing how revenge can keep you alive. Vader kind of knew he was around the whole time, and they're plotting together. And they leave her, and now we're going to leave you to die. We're going to leave you like we found you. We're going to leave you alive. Why? Why are they leaving her alive? What are they hoping to accomplish by leaving her alive? Do they think that she's going to lead them to Obi-Wan? Why would you give her another chance? If you're Vader, you're like, you don't let anybody live. Why are you letting her live? Especially someone who's just tried to kill you, because you know she's going to try again. You're not leaving her there, think she's going to die. Why? I mean, that made no sense to me at all. Why they let her live? Unless, well, I know for the story of what they're trying to do, I know why they did it, because it's very clear. Because here they are on the transport ship again. Everybody got out. She's of course she's alive because they didn't kill her. The second they leave her alone, you're like, well, she's obviously going to be okay. He's like, uh-oh, I left my phone. And she finds the message, plays it. It's the Bail Organa message, and then there's Luke before he gets his hair colored. So this makes me nervous, because then this is a clear thing of, okay, she's going to find Luke. She's going to go there and, warn. This is where the turn happens. This is where she turns good. Now, the question is, is she going to finally meet her end through Vader that way? This is where, to me, it gets a little bit more confusing, because I think the ending of this character at this particular point would have been tragic, would have been an ending of, like, because she's, at the moment, obviously plagued with emotion and pain and anger from her friends, and by being slaughtered by someone that they trusted, that they told loved them, that they told was a force of good, and then ultimately betrayed. All made sense. And then it came around to the fact that because she's killing rebels, whatever that dude is that we were supposed to care about in episode 4, he blows up. She does that. She's ultimately responsible for Tala. She kills all these people that in the beginning she's coming out, she's wrecking people. She's been doing despicable stuff the whole entire series. So there's nothing right now that, even if she does in episode 6, I think is going to redeem her in our eyes, going, oh, she saved Luke? She saved Leia? Okay, she's good. We like her now. No. It's like you got her to this point where it's like she's following basically what Obi-Wan told Anakin, don't lead with that because that doesn't work. And she led with it. And she got stabbed to the chest, and then the Inquisitor came back, and the Sith won that day. Or the Sith plus the Inquisitor won that day, is what you thought. But she lives, so then she's going to get redeemed in episode 6. And I just hope that it's more about, because what this was so great with this back and forth between Anakin and Obi-Wan was that it was leading into that. This seems like it's leading into the redemption now of Reva, which might, again, if it's an hour and a half long episode, could work very well, depending on how it is. If it's a half an hour episode and that's the focus, and it's not the focus of, like, we're obviously going to get Qui-Gon, like, at the end of the show or something, right? He finally kind of tunes in, and you got to have him go, where the hell were you this whole time? I was in Maui. You should go there. It's awesome. But anyway, I thought it was a really good episode overall. There's, as I mentioned in the beginning, there are some things that I still think need work, but this episode was really good. It really was. There's a lot of phenomenal stuff and great Star Wars imagery. But anyway, very curious what you guys think. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let's hear it. Let's hear it. And make sure you subscribe. Hit the notification button. Do all of it. Longer breakdown here today, but of course there was a lot to talk about. So check out Sith Council a little later on today. Got big thing. Got a bunch of stuff. Got Dan Fogler on the show tomorrow talking about The Offer. So thank you, everybody. All right. See you on the flip side.